Guys, thought I would do a bit of a late video for you guys this evening. I wanted to do a little bit of like a part two to the video that I did earlier today when I was talking about Anna Sacconejolys and all of the troubles surrounding her. I think at the end of the day, as I said, people need to report them for, report her for what she's doing, and report both of them. I think if she's not going to do anything, if she's not going to stop Jonathan from doing the things that he's doing, then maybe, just maybe, we need to do something about it. If she's not going to do anything about it, then we have to do something about it. I feel like they're not really, giving people much of a choice at this point. I think, it's gotten to the point where people kind of have no real choice but to no other real choice but to kind of report them for what they're doing, because I think someone needs to have a serious conversation with with both about what they're doing. So as of now, there has been complete radio silence tonight on all of their socials. There's not been a single post from either Jonathan or Anna on their socials. There's been nothing on YouTube. Normally Jonathan does upload a YouTube short every night, but as the time of recording, he's still there's been radio silence from him, and there's also been radio silence from Anna today as well. Normally she's posting TikTok and whatnot, but today nothing. I mean, obviously, you know, it's funny that there is complete radio silence, because I remember the last time, like, there was a day where neither of them uploaded anything on their socials, and it's mad, to be honest. At the end of the day, I think people, as I said earlier, I think it's very sad that, Anna has obviously been blocking people who are just showing genuine concern, and are just saying that she needs to address, these thumbnails and address all of the other. I mean, it's just ridiculous, I mean, I feel like the way that they have Alessia addressed in certain videos is just completely inappropriate, She's 8 years old, they need to be careful, you know. It feels like they don't care about. This is the problem with them. Is it feels like they don't care about the way that they show their kids in their videos. Like, I think they need to. I think if they had any common sense, they would be a lot more careful about that. They would be. Not that they wouldn't be as stupid or as reckless as they are. They wouldn't be putting their kids. They wouldn't. They would actually be showing a little bit more care for the safety of their kids. I think it has gotten to the point where someone needs to step in and put a stop to what they're doing. Someone needs to, give them a stern telling off, and say, what you're doing just isn't okay. It's not right. You shouldn't be doing this. We all know they shouldn't be doing the things that they're doing. I don't think there's ever really been a time where, apart from when they were obviously focusing very heavily on the trans child stuff, I don't think there's been been any time another time where Jonathan and Anna have been quite as controversial as they have been recently, and obviously where I don't think there's ever been a time where they've ever gotten so much backlash and so much negative attention. It's actually crazy to see how much negative attention and backlash they're both getting right now, and I'm not gonna sympathise with them. I'm not gonna have any sympathy for them for the fact they're getting over the fact that they're getting so much backlash and negative attention at the moment, because it's what they deserve. There's no doubt in my mind that they both deserve every single ounce of negative negative attention and backlash they're both getting. You know, I think both of them need to stop and think about what the hell they do. I think they both need to stop and think about the way that they're putting their kids out there on the internet, how they're doing that. It's just massively inappropriate, to be honest. Um, I mean, obviously, I think that I feel like it's like he tried to ignore it as much as they want, but it is on the deck to the point where they can no longer ignore it. It is on the deck to the point where they can't they just can't ignore it anymore. No matter how hard they try to make this go away, they won't make it go away. People are not gonna stop you know warning them out or whatever until they actually do what they need to do. Until she actually shows that she gives a damn about the safety of her kids, which right now it doesn't feel like they do. And that is just me being just a wee bit harsh, I suppose. Um, and I don't mean to be that negative about it, but I just think that you gotta look at it from a certain perspective. I mean, it's just madness. It's just mad what they're doing, and I think someone needs to have a very serious conversation with Anna about what she's doing. That's what I want to say. I don't feel like there's much else I can say because I feel like I said a lot of what needed to be said in the video that I did in the video that I did earlier today. I was very vocal about it. I did say that I thought, I think, what they're both doing is wrong. I think they're both just as bad as one another. You know, they're both guilty as sin in this situation. Like neither one of them. This is a situation where neither one of them is innocent. You know, it's a situation where both parents are as guilty as sin. This isn't, like I've known for a very, very long time now that there was something dodgy about Jonathan. I've never liked the vibe. To be honest with you, and to be truthfully honest with you, I've never liked the vibe I get from him. That the vibe I get from him it's just a really weird vibe, and I don't know what it is. There's just something about him that I don't like, and I can't quite put my finger on it. You know, whenever I go on Jonathan's channel, and I just look at all of the thumbnails he's using and the way that he's putting his hits out there on the internet, it makes me feel sick to my stomach, and I think it would make anyone feel sick to their stomach. Looking at what he's doing and the way that he's doing it. Um, I think people have every right to kind of question what the fuck they're both doing. Why is he doing what he's doing? Why is she letting this happen? Etc. Etc. I don't blame people for questioning that. Because it's something that people genuinely do need to question. I don't blame people for the fact that they think what they're doing isn't what they're doing. They think that what they do, you know, I don't blame people for wanting to report them. As I said earlier, I'm very tempted to do that myself. Um, and I just think that it would be the right thing to do. I don't think anybody would be doing anything wrong by reporting them and talking about what these two are doing, with their kids and the fact that they're not showing any kind of regard for the safety of their kids. But this is the problem, is it feels like they're showing quite a major disregard for the safety of their kids. And I just think they need to be careful. As parents, they need to stop them. We all know, as I've said before, they know. They've been warned about the dangers that they are exposing and subjecting their kids to, but they just don't give a fuck. It's always been the same, and that is one thing that will never change, no matter how hard. And that's a simple fact. They have been warned multiple times about this. They've been warned multiple times about about the dangers that they're subjecting and exposing their kids to, but they just won't stop. Because they don't care. People won't ever convince me, won't ever convince me that they actually do care, because I just don't think they do. I honestly don't think they do care at all. Simple as that. So I hope you enjoyed this video anyway, and I will see you. So I hope you, I mean, that is the end of the video. It was only going to be a short one tonight. It wasn't going to be too long. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you for another video very soon. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.